What's up guys, it's Sergey from Freediving, and today we're going to talk about mammalian dive response or mammalian dive reflex. Why mammalian? Because all mammals have it. However, some people think that it is more accurate to call it dive reflex or dive response because not only mammals have it. Okay, how to call it? Totally up to you. You can call it mammalian dive reflex or just dive reflex. So we're going to talk about what kind of benefits this reflex giving to you, how to initiate it, and how to make it stronger. But before we start, as usual, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to it. And if you're already done, thank you very much. Don't forget to click the bell button. Then when I'm gonna upload my next video, you're gonna have some notifications. Okay, let's start how to initiate your dive reflex. There is 3 ways how to initiate it. Way number 1, by doing your breath hold. So even when you're doing the breath hold dry, let's say you're watching my video and you hold your breath for whatever reason, then you're gonna activate your dive response. The way number 2 is when you're cooling down your face area. So for example, when you put your face in the water, and even if you're breathing through the snorkel, you're gonna initiate at some degree your dive response. And the next one, which is the best one, when you combine breath holding and cooling down your face. So this is how you initiate your dive response in the best way. But again, even separately, to a certain degree, not the best, to a certain degrees, gonna initiate the dive response. So when you dive response initiating, what kind of benefits you're gonna have? First of all, your heart rate will go down. So your normal heart rate in a rest about 60 to 80, right, beats per minute. However, when you're holding your breath, and especially when you're holding your breath while you're facing the water, you're gonna have a lower heart rate, which is good, which is gonna conserve the oxygen, because your heart is the muscles, and the less work is gonna do, the less oxygen you're gonna use for this work, right? So this is a conservative mechanism, right? So the next one is the vasoconstrictions, or you can call it peripheral vasoconstrictions. Peripheral vasoconstriction, what it is? The blood vessels which bringing the blood to some of the tissue, let's say to your skin or to your muscles, gonna constrict, becoming smaller, and this is why the blood flow for these tissues is gonna be smaller. And this is why, again, it is a conservative mechanism to keep oxygen to the more important organs, which could not survive with a limited amount of oxygen. Because let's say your skin or your muscle, these tissues can stay for a while without the oxygen, or at least with a limited amount of oxygen. And there is another tissues, such let's say your heart or your brain, which could not survive without the oxygen, right? So the next is a blood shift. The blood shift, it is when the blood is moving from your tissue, from your muscles to your lungs. Why we need the blood shift? Why we need to have a blood in our lungs? It is a protective mechanism against the depths when we're diving deep. Because when we're diving deep, our lungs is going to be compressing more and more and more compared to how deep you're going. And at some point it can be risky, because your lungs could not compress more than certain amount of times. Let's say more than 4, 5, or maybe 6 times. So like basically people say like 4 or 5 times. So your lungs could not be compressed more than that. However, when you're diving deeper than this, because nowadays 40, 50, 60 meters, it is an average freediver can do it. So if you're diving deeper than that, this is what protects your lungs from collapsing, because now you have more blood in your lungs. Again, don't be confused. This blood is not going inside your alveoli. It's not going inside your air spaces. It's just going into the blood vessels around these alveoli. These blood vessels gonna swell, and they gonna like create more volume. Okay, this is a blood shift. And the last one is a spleen contraction. So the spleen, it is an inner organ which a lot of people have no idea why they have it. Spleen have a lot of function actually, And one of the function, spleen destroy inside the spleen there is like a destroying process of old red blood cells. So all the time inside your spleen you have a certain amount of blood, and when you have a dive reflex, especially when you're diving like in the ocean, when you're diving deep, then your spleen is going to contract, and then this is going to help to release this blood to your system, and this blood is obviously rich with red blood cells and obviously with oxygen as well, and this is why you have like additional oxygen available to keep your breath hold longer. Okay, so all of these reflexes they can be quite slow in the beginning, but the more you're training as a freediver, the more you do freediving training, specific freediving training, the more you do breath hold training, then technically this reflex and these like separate parts should be stronger and better. Let's say your heart rate can go much slower, your vasoconstriction is going to be faster and stronger, so your dive reflex is going to be better with the training. Again, some people have a different response of this like a breath holding. So for some people vasoconstriction is strong, for some people vasoconstriction is not that strong, same with the heart rate. But in general, all of this can be improved through the freediving specific training. Okay, the more you're training, the better you be as a freediver.